Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to another episode of Culture Mavens. I'm Tom Teicholz, and I'm here with Rabbi Susan Nanus.
Hi, everyone. We're so excited to be with you that we're saying hi together in unison. We're really happy to be here. And we're thrilled to share with you another week of culture all over the country and the world. And Tom, I'm going to let you lead it off.
Well, I'm always looking for things for families because I know it's been really tough having your kids at home and homeschooling them and not having summer camp. We all miss Hess Kramer. So I want to tell you about many zoos all over the country and some all over the world have put up video program, live webcams. You can go to the Shed, SHEDD aquarium in Chicago. They've got their what's become an internet sensation, their penguin tours, where they let penguins roam through the aquarium and have them interact with the animals. There is the aquarium in New York City. The Bronx Zoo has live webcams. Here in LA, if you go to the Los Angeles Zoo website, they have videos of some of their animals. You can have watch videos of lions and cheetahs and sharks and have all kinds of animal adventures. And hopefully, it will keep your young ones, give you 20 minutes of peace and quiet. There are some very expensive private encounters with animals, virtual wildlife, which you can do through the Bronx Zoo and the Shed. But really, there's so much great free content out there from, as I said, zoos in New York and LA and Chicago that it really is a great thing for families.
Well, I grew up in Chicago and I remember that aquarium, and it's fantastic. And it's not just for kids. I mean, watching animals is thrilling, for all of us. So that is a beautiful aquarium. I remember going there very well. And speaking of families, this is something for the whole family. I mean, I remember when, you probably remember this, Tom, when we were growing up, we used to wait all year to watch two musicals. The Wizard of Oz and Peter Pan. That was only on television once a year, and we just couldn't wait. Now you can see anything, anytime. But Disney just released their a full beautiful tape version of Tangled, one of their new musicals. It's an animated musical, but they've done a live action musical version, and it's free. And you can, we have the website of how you can just click onto it. And it's an hour-long stage musical. And that is the musical by Alan Menken and Glenn Slater. And it's got all the original cast of singers. So that's something that kids might, and anybody might enjoy.
Well, that sounds like fun. I've been, as I've been sharing with you during the pandemic and the lockdown, I've been getting into ballet online. And Vogue magazine had an article recently called "The Best Ballets to Come Out of Quarantine." And they listed 9 different videos, most of which are 3 to 4 minutes long. So they're really fun. And some of them are very beautiful and artistic. The New York City Ballet has one up called "Ces noms que nous portons," the names which we carry, which is choreographed by Kyle Abraham and danced by Taylor Stanley. And it's really beautiful. It's done outdoors on the plaza in Lincoln Center with the Revson fountain behind him. And that's amazing. There's a really funny bathtub Swan Lake.
Oh, wow.
Which is really well produced. It's about a dozen dancers in their bathtubs, each doing some of the movements from Swan Lake. It's really great. There's also, because I'm always trying to find the Jewish angle too. The Paris Opera Ballet has a video that they call Dire Merci, which is to say thank you, which was filmed by the French filmmaker Cedric Clapiche, who filmed all these dancers at home, and it's a beautiful film, very moving. There's Swans for Relief, which was a charity ballet, which was very good. There's a very haunting one from the ballet in the Netherlands of dancers in the empty streets of Amsterdam performing. That's quite amazing. And then the Australian ballet has a really funny ballet that they call the core, like the corps de ballet, Quarantine, which is a sort of social media version of Giselle, which is really funny, and I recommend it highly. Also, if you want a full-length ballet, now available online is the Royal Ballet's performance of a ballet inspired by Virginia Woolf. It's called Woolf Works, and it's really an amazing ballet. It has 3 parts, but the first part features Alessandra Ferri, the famous ballerina from New York City Ballet. She's 52.
Wow.
And she's really powerful, and she's dancing, and there's a young dancer who's playing her as a younger woman, and she's reflecting on her life. And then in another part, Natalia Osipova, who's a fabulous ballerina. This is in 2015. It's really great and worth watching. Both all these little ballets and this full-length ballet called Wolf Works.
Ballet is so beautiful in person and on screen as well. And I was so fortunate when I went to Russia to adopt my daughter to go to the Bolshoi.
Oh,
and
wow.
Sit in the Bolshoi theater, which was like 200 years old, all made of wood, and see Giselle, actually, speaking of Giselle. So
well, it's a classic.
It's a classic, and ballet just inspires you and reminds you how beautiful human beings can be and what beauty they can create.
And even if you're watching it on video, it still just boggles the mind how they can move their bodies.
And the fluidity.
The fluidity, but also the control. It's really amazing.
Well, I'm going to definitely check those out. They sound wonderful. So I've been looking for interesting Jewish films, speaking of filming something that's not just a regular feature film. And there's a hilarious filming of a one-man show by an Israeli, well, not Israeli, sorry. He's Moroccan, French, Jewish stand-up comedian named Gad Elmaleh, who is known as the Jerry Seinfeld of France. And it's called Gad Elmaleh, American Dream. And he moved to LA, and it's about his experiences in LA. Now, he is really, really famous in France. And part of it is about how nobody ever heard of him, and nobody knows him, and what it's like to be an unknown after being a superstar. And it's hilarious. And we need a good laugh for sure. And he also, as you told me, is a great serious actor as well.
Yes. He was in a film about the France under the Vichy occupation called La Rafle, and he had a serious role. He was really great in it. He has also done other stand-up performances, one in Montreal, which he did in French and English. And he's very funny. I think he was living in LA for a while. I don't know if he's still here.
Yeah, I think it'll be, if you need a good laugh, I think this would be a perfect little distraction.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
And speaking of laughing,
yes, yes, we have 2 great LA comedic talents. Alan Zweibel and Judd Apatow. Alan is kind of the Zelig of uh, TV screen comedy. He has written for Saturday Night Live. He was a very close friend of Gilda Radner's and wrote a beautiful play about her called Bunny Bunny. Alan also was Billy Crystal's co-author, helped him write 700 Sundays. And Alan has a new book out where he talks about how he has made a lifetime of making funny people funnier on the page. And he is in conversation with Judd Apatow, who also has quite a track record of making funny people funnier on screen. And they're talking as part of the Temple Emmanuel in New York's Stryker series.
Yes, and by the way, Alan Zweibel, I had invited him to come to Wilshire Boulevard Temple, but he was already booked. He wrote a hilarious sort of satire of the Haggadah called "For This We Left Egypt," and it's a very humorous little book. I heard him at a book festival talking about it. It sounded hilarious. Also, at the Temple Emmanuel Stryker Center, we are very lucky. They have all these contacts, and we just get to latch on to them. Is Rachel Brosnahan, who plays the marvelous Mrs. Meisel, and she's going to be interviewed as well. So both of them will be appearing. We'll have the dates, here streamed on here where you'll be able to see when they are. But those are a lot of entertainment. And I wanted to talk about another thing coming out in New York, but this is only in New York, which is the YIVO Center, which is the Center for Jewish History that actually started in Poland and then moved here. And they are having a concert, a Yiddish concert celebrating a century of the Yiddish songs, poetry, and artistic vision of an amazing Yiddish entertainer, Bela Schachter Gottesman. Now, you may not have heard of her, but she's been writing and singing and performing since the 50s, all about life in New York, American Yiddish, Jewish life. And it's not her, it's all of these superstars in the Yiddish world that will be singing and performing her works. And this will be on Sunday, August 9th at 10:30 a.m. our time, 1:30 in New York. And it's free and it's not to be missed. So that's going to be very entertaining and look, beautiful.
This coronavirus pandemic and lockdown have been terrible in many ways, but it really has shown us that we can access Jewish culture from all over the country and all over the world and find great Jewish film and dance and performances that we otherwise might have missed. And now we have the ability, everything going online and everything's accessible. And so it really is a time where we can make our lives richer and fill our lives with more Jewish culture, which is a fantastic thing. Now, going back to the most traditional of Jewish cultures, as the people of the book, Rabbi Nanus, I know that you, with great delight, have just read the most recent installment of your favorite guilty pleasure. It's not even so guilty.
That's right. Maybe so. I'm sure a lot of you have read Daniel Silva. This is his 20th book, The Order, but I have read every single one of his books. And if you did a close-up of my shelf behind me, you would see all of them in hardcover because I can't even wait for them to come out in paperback. I have to buy it. I pre-order these books. And for those of you who don't know them, it's about a disaffected Israeli Mossad assassin who tries to leave the Mossad, move to Europe. He's also an amazing artist, but he's always called back in because there's some kind of crisis that only he can solve. And he has this team of experts, and it's a very intricate, well-plotted stories, always having to do with the Jewish people. Or some
sounds like the Steve Leader story.
How so?
He's always being called back in to solve uh,
Yes,
some crisis, and he has a great team of people that he
that's
relies on.
right. But he doesn't have to assassinate neo-Nazis and
Not that we know of. Not that we know of.
that's true. Russian oligarchs who are financing Hezbollah, all kinds of attacks on the Vatican. I mean, you can't. I read it in a day and a half. You can't put it down. So
wow. And again, as an author, I thank you for buying hardcovers. That's good for all of us. Now, I just read a current novel called Fleischman is in Trouble by Taffy Brodesser-Akner. She's a well-known magazine journalist who writes for the Sunday New York Times and has done profiles of Gwyneth Paltrow and Bradley Cooper that are sometimes somewhat controversial. And her first novel is tells two sides of a marriage. And it's quite, at times funny, at times serious, extremely readable. I can't say that I read it in 12 hours, but I certainly read it in a weekend. And so that's my recommendation for this week. And with that, I think that about wraps it up for this week's installment.
yes, the only thing I want to add is for those of you who've been following our Through Their Eyes African American film series, in 2 weeks on August 11th, we will be discussing Hollywood Shuffle with the director, Robert Townsend. So it'll be at 7:00 p.m. Tuesday night. So you should watch that film ahead of time, and then we'll get to discuss that with him and with Dr. Michael Renov, who is our moderator. So
sounds great.
That's it for now.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.